Going on YouTube, I was just about to sit down and film my UFC 311 official preview and breakdown, but I got my phone blowing up, breaking news that Arman Tsarukyan is out of the fight with Islam Makhachev, and now we have Money Moicano stepping in on just over 24 hours notice for a title shot against Islam. Dariush will no longer be fighting. He's going to be compensated for going up and making weight, I'm assuming, but we have this crazy matchup that I didn't think we'd see for a while now. First of all, props to Moicano. You know, Money Moicano cannot afford to lose. He's got the balls on him. He's got the I don't give a fuck mentality. He's won 6 out of his last 7 fights. And, you know, that last fight against Benoit Saint Denis was insane. You know, the first 10-8 round, I couldn't believe they didn't stop that fight. That was one of the worst beatings I've ever seen in the UFC. But, obviously, fighting my teammate, Islam Makhachev, he's up there for being the GOAT. You know what I mean? It's him and Khabib are tied neck and neck. You just kind of don't even talk about it. You don't go in depth because both of them are so good and they're so close. I'm really excited for the fight. You know, I did want to see Arman Tsarukyan and Islam run it back, but maybe in the future. A little weird that Arman was talking so much, and, you know, knowing he's dealing with that back injury, obviously he knew, we didn't. And then to wait until 1 a.m. the day of weigh-ins to pull out of the fight. I get it. You know, you're trying to do everything you can to make it and push. I'm sure he pushed through a lot of adversity. I don't know. Me personally, I'd be a little quieter knowing, like, I might not make it into the cage. It's just a weird look, but, you know, hopefully he heals up. It's not too bad, and then they can run it back, and Islam can take care of him. But official pick, Islam Makhachev versus Money Moicano. I'm going to have to go with Islam. You know, I do think that Moicano is a threat to him. You know, he's got the I don't give a fuck mentality. He's on short notice. He's getting paid well. He's got nothing to lose in this fight. And it would be on brand for Moicano to go in there acting as if he's not fighting potentially the greatest lightweight of all time and just taking him out. You know, that would just be so on brand for Moicano at this point. But until I see it happen, I don't believe it happening. So I'm going to have to go with Islam. I think he probably dominates him early, gets him down, and finishes him. It's probably going to be very similar to the Charles Oliveira fight. Islam just is that guy right now, you know? I feel like he's hitting that GSP status where back in the day when everybody was watching GSP, he was the greatest of all time. But he was, first of all, he was decisioning a lot of guys, but he was beating everybody. And everybody was waiting for him to lose because they were sick of watching him win. And I feel like Islam is on that trajectory, but he's finishing people. And he's finishing whoever they say is the next guy. Islam is finishing them. He's not just dominating and decisioning them. He is finishing everybody. So, really interested for this fight. I think Islam gets the finish. Probably earlier on, but yeah, I think he continues on to being potentially the greatest lightweight of all time. Next, in the co-main, another AKA brother, we have Umar Nurmagomedov versus Merab Dvalishvili? Merab. We'll just go with Merab. This fight interests me in a different way. Obviously, they got their bad blood too. They haven't fought before like Arman and Islam. There's no crazy pullouts in last minutes. But the style of this fight interests me so much because I've seen so many people breaking down these fights and talking about it this week. You know, Umar can stop the wrestling of Merab. Umar can outstrike him. He can, you know, he can stop a takedown, turn him, beat him up, and get the TKO. I wouldn't be surprised if Umar came out, beat him up on the feet, and took Merab down. You know what I mean? If Umar feels like he can take Merab down and wants to take Merab down, he will take Merab down. I feel like Umar looks very small for the weight class. Granted, Merab's not that tall either, but he is very wide, very muscular. I think people are sleeping on the wrestling and the strength of Umar, which I don't think I've said about any of his fights yet. But at the same time, can he stop the wrestling? Can Merab take him down and hold him for 25 minutes? That I don't think. I think maybe he can get Umar down, but like Umar himself said, I think he gets back up. I don't think Merab's going to be able to have this game plan of, I'm going to take you down and grind you out for 25 minutes. I think I personally think maybe he wins a round or two. If he's committed to, I'm going to take you down, I'm not going to fight you, I'm just going to hold you. But I don't see him getting a decision. I see Umar probably getting a decision on him, probably 3 rounds to 2. It'll be really interesting, especially too because, you know, a lot of Umar haters are saying, well, he got caught by that guy that nobody knows the name of on short notice, called a puncher's chance. But we've seen Merab get caught many fights, and we've seen Merab get finished or close to finished in many fights. And I think Umar can put him in that place. I think Umar can finish him on the ground. I think Umar can finish him on the feet. I think Umar can get a decision on him. As much as I believe that, though, I think it is a very, very difficult fight for Umar. Which sounds weird. It sounds like I'm saying he's going to blow him out of the water, but I understand that it is a difficult fight for him. I just think his skill set and what he brings to the table is going to be able to beat Merab. Like I said, is going to be able to beat Merab. I'm going to go final official decision, Umar by decision. I think it's going to be either a really exciting fight or it's going to be a snooze fest of, Merab trying to take him down and lay on him and Umar picking him apart on the feet, if not taking Merab down and beating him up. And that would be much more exciting for me to watch personally. But no matter how it goes, Umar by decision. Jamahal Hill versus Jiri Prochazka. This is another weird fight where, a guy like Jiri doesn't do anything normal. Everything he does is weird. His defense isn't really all there. He's got his hands down, his head movement's not the greatest, his footwork's not the best, seems to always get caught. And, Jamahal Hill, prior to this Alex Pereira fight, in this Glover Teixeira fight, he was putting guys to sleep. He was walking through guys, minus Paul Craig getting his arm snapped. That was gross. He was walking through all of these guys, putting them down, and it's easy to think that he looks timid when he's fighting Alex Pereira. I think everybody has looked intimidated fighting Alex Pereira. It's just, that's who he is. So seeing him fight a guy like Jiri Prochazka, who's been finished twice now in a row, I believe, by Alex, I'm not a Jamahal Hill fan by any means. I don't like the way he carries himself after a loss or on social media and kind of attacks fans on social media. But I can respect his skill set. I personally want Jiri to win. I'm going to have to pick Jamahal Hill, though, if Jiri hasn't made those changes to his defense. I feel like his offense is fine how it is. It's awkward, it's long, it comes from weird angles. There's not much that needs to change there, but the defense needs to be there. You can't rely on your chin for your whole career, or you'll end up making it to a certain point, and everybody's different, and then you will get caught. Take a guy like Jiri, who gets knocked out by Pereira, and then take a guy like Max Holloway, who never gets knocked out. But then there's that guy, there's that Ilia Topuria, who is gonna check your chin and he's gonna put your lights out. And everybody runs into it. So I always tell people, you cannot rely on your chin. Your chin is your last line of defense. I've been hit with big shots as an amateur. I've been hit with big shots as a professional, and my chin's held out. I haven't stuck my chin out there and said, hit me. That's not gonna work. So I personally believe defense first, offense second. Everything else that you can think of, chin at the very end. You just can't be relying on it. So that's, unless some changes have been made in the defense, I'm going to say Jamahal Hill, probably by finish. I don't really see him going to war with Jiri and eking out a decision. That would be fun to watch. I'm here for the violence. I'm here as a fan right now. I'm not here as a fighter. But I'm going to say Jamahal Hill, probably by finish. The next one I was going to break down was going to be Beneil Dariush versus Money Moicano, but obviously that fight's not happening. But let it be known that I was Team Moicano for that fight. I think that Dariush was on his way downhill. I think that he's gotten finished a couple times. He's still dangerous. He's still one of the baddest dudes in the division. But for being the same age as Moicano, I feel like they're in such different spots in their career. I feel like Moicano's on an upward trajectory. Dariush might be on the down. Bummed we're not going to see that fight. Bummed that Moicano, I believe, is going to lose Islam tomorrow night. So, but yeah, that would have been my pick. That would have been on there. And the last one we have here, we have Kevin Holland versus Reiner de Ridder. Kevin Holland, I think at this point, everybody knows him. Everybody knows what he's here for. He's here to put on good fights. He's here to get a check. And he's here to fight just about anybody. I haven't heard of him saying no to anybody. I mean, he fought Hamzat, you know what I mean? Short notice, got choked out. He's just that guy. I said to one of my buddies the other day, actually, he's the new age Cowboy Cerrone. Anybody, anywhere, give me the price, and I'm in there. Which I love as a fan, and I can respect as a fighter, Not every fighter can say, like, oh, this guy's 20 rankings above me, this guy's 10 rankings above me. I'll fight him on short notice. So props to him. Reiner de Ridder is an anomaly because he kind of impresses me, but doesn't impress me at the same time. I think somebody said he's a Swedish kickboxer, and he fought Gerald Meerschaert, and I believe his UFC debut. and he submitted him. And to submit Gerald Meerschaert is an impressive feat. Though Gerald might be, you know, a little bit older, a little bit slower than these guys. He's been fighting forever. It is impressive to be tapping Gerald Meerschaert. So his jiu-jitsu impresses me. His striking in that fight was very, very sloppy. But as it seems to be this new age of MMA, you are either a physical specimen with phenomenal technique and you're just a dog everywhere, or you're kind of that Dricus du Plessis style where you're a physical specimen and your heart and your dog takes over the lack of technique and lack of, maybe not cardio, but when you're tired, like you're just still going 100%. So that's what Reinier de Ridder kind of looked like to me against Gerald Meerschaert. I mean, I want to say Kevin Holland, you know. I think he's an underdog. I want to say Kevin Holland personally. I feel like, you know, the old classic, like all fights start on the feet. I didn't really see any crazy wrestling from Reinier de Ridder, so it's not going to be a Hamzat situation. I don't think he takes him right down. If it does get to the ground, I feel like he probably dominates Kevin Holland, even though everybody loves saying Kevin Holland is a black belt. I get it. Black belts can beat other black belts. But he's going to have to survive, you know, the onslaught from Kevin Holland. You know, and Kevin Holland is kind of wishy-washy, kind of like Cowboy was back in the day. Sometimes he comes in and you're like, he could be the champ. And then other times he comes in and you're like, what's going on here? What are you doing? But I feel like it's kind of a trend for him to, you know, lose one or two and then come out and have like a baller performance and then maybe go on a little streak and then lose one or two and then come back out and put on another baller performance. So I think UFC 311 is where Kevin Holland comes back. He puts on that giant performance as an underdog, you know, wins a couple parlays for people and probably stiffs Reinier de Ridder. And now the most fun of the UFC pay-per-view breakdowns. This is going to cover the entire card because as you know it, this is our Get Out the Hood parlay. And if you guys don't know, the Get Out the Hood parlay is the parlay that you're throwing down that probably won't hit, but it's a stretch, and if it does hit, we are getting out of the hood. Got Tagir Ulanbekov versus Clayton Carpenter. Tagir's a -305 favorite. Not really going to do anything crazy for the parlay except just add another leg. I'm going to put him in there. He's dropping to 298 as I record this, so I'm going to take him ASAP. Like I said, not doing anything crazy for the parlay, but another leg's going to add something. Ricky Tercios versus Bernardo Sopage. Don't really know Bernardo. I know Ricky from The Ultimate Fighter, but I haven't followed his fights too much. He has a great performance there, and then he gets smoked by Raul Rosas Jr., who's not he's not trash, but I just don't think he is the star that he's being made out to be. So I'm just going to ride the favorite on this one. I'm going to do another -245 with Bernardo Sopage. And then next, we have Rinya Nakamura versus Muin Gafarov. I have no idea who either of these two guys are, so I'm going to completely skip this fight. Though Rinya is -600, I feel like too many favorites. Somebody's got to be the upset of the night. And if it's not Moicano, it's going to be one of these prelims guys. So we're going to skip that one. Next up, we have Carol Rosa versus Aileen Perez. You guys might know her as the girl who twerks every time she wins. She did miss weight her last fight. She did make weight for this fight. I don't know. Aileen is a +205 dog, and we've got Carol Rosa at -250. I don't like betting on women's fights that I don't know very well. I usually lose those, so we're going to skip it. I know this sounds like we're not trying to get out the hood with this parlay, but we're going to take what we know first, and if it's not getting us out the hood, we'll come back and make a decision. Grant Dawson versus Diego Ferreira. I'm going to have to say I love Grant Dawson's style when he's winning, but I'm going to have to go with Diego Ferreira. He's a bad dude. I'm pretty sure he was the one that knocked out Terrence McKinney, one of the first ones. But, yeah, I'm really excited for this fight. +200, I'm going to go Diego Ferreira. Next up, we have Zachary Reese versus Azamat Bekoev. I believe Azamat Bekoev was the LFA middleweight champ. He's now -192. I'm going to throw him on the parlay. Not some crazy numbers yet, so we're going to have to mix it up soon, and it is coming. Next up, we have Jailton Almeida versus Sergey Spivak. Interesting fight. Spivak's the polar bear guy. You know, Jailton Almeida is a bad dude. Jailton Almeida's -470. I'm going to go with the -470. It seems like I'm playing it safe, but we're going to mix it up the closer we get to the main event. Peyton Talbot versus Raoni Barcelos. Peyton Talbot is a -1050, which absolutely ruins your parlay. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to go Peyton Talbot by KO, TKO, DQ, or submission is minus 250. So that's what we're going to go. Back to what we were just breaking down. We've got Kevin Holland versus Reiner de Ridder. I'm going to mix it up here. We've got Kevin Holland at plus 102. And I was going to say Kevin Holland by finish, but we're going to get a little bit more exact than that. We go over to winning methods. I'm going to take Kevin Holland by KO, TKO, or DQ for plus 185. I really do think that that's his best chance of winning. You can, if you're not feeling like risking it, you can even tone it down a little bit and take him by KO or decision. But me personally, I think if he wins, it's probably by knockout. Jiri Prochazka versus Jamahal Hill. Jiri is sitting at plus 105, while we've got Jamahal Hill at minus 125. I don't really like minus 125 for Jamahal Hill, so we're going to get specific again. I'm going to say Jamahal Hill is going to win this fight by knockout. With my luck, Jiri probably been working on his defense, but who knows? So I'm going to we're trying to get out the hood here, so we're just going to send it. We're going to take Jamahal Hill by KO plus 175. KO, TKO, or DQ plus 175. Next up, we've got Merab. Plus 220 versus Umar Nurmagomedov, who's minus 270. It's been a while since we've seen a champ be this much of an underdog, I think. I'm going to have to go with Umar by decision, which once again doesn't really do much for our parlay here, but I really do think that that's how it's going to play out. Minus 135, I'll take it. In our new main event, we have Islam Makhachev versus Renato Money Moicano. I haven't dropped the prop bets for this fight yet, so I'm not going to take Islam at minus 1,000. As of right now, if I had to bet Islam or Moicano, this is our get out the hood, throw all caution to the wind. I don't have any prop bets. If I had a prop bet, I would say Islam by finish, and I would even specify under 4 rounds, under 4.5, whatever they'll give you. That might not happen till tomorrow. But making the parlay on the spot right now, we're trying to make some money. I'm going to throw Moicano plus 650, and that's really going to do some numbers for our parlay. This is not something I'm saying dump your life savings on. This is something I'm saying you got $5 extra in your DraftKings account, throw it on here, and we can get out of the hood. For a grand total of plus 148,973. That would mean that $10 would get you $14,907.35. How you like that, Apple? We're going to let it ride. And that is your official Joe Giannetti Get Out the Hood parlay. Some real bets and real parlays that I'm going to be making. I'm going to post them in the Discord either tonight or tomorrow morning before I head to sparring. Post it down below in the description. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Follow me on all social media. You can catch me at Giannetti MMA. I think just about everywhere. If there's a social media platform, I'm probably there, and it's probably at Giannetti MMA. So, subscribe if you haven't. Enjoy the fights tomorrow. We will have our fight companion. We have a full house. We got all the boys coming over. BTT boys are here. It's going to get a little rowdy. So tune in here on YouTube. We'll have it on Kick, and we might even throw it up on Twitch too, depending on how the multi-stream performs. But I appreciate you guys for watching this video, and I will catch you tomorrow. Peace.